Welcome everybody to the Untold History Channel. My name is Rob Partain, and it is Saturday, the 9th of August, 2025. And I have the pleasure of being joined by my good friend, Dr. Jim Willie, heavy in the doctor, heavy on the doctor. And we've got, I don't know, there's kind of lots to talk about, actually.
Well, there's a lot
Lots
happening.
to talk about going on in the world.
There's a tremendous amount going on in the world. The problem is that we don't have a lot of really rock solid information about what's going on in the world, and we're left to speculate because we're mere plebeians.
True. True. I get it. I get that, but it is, what are we going to do?
Well, you speculate. That's what I just said. We don't have a lot of perfect information, high quality information. I do have some detailed military drop, and I'm telling you, this is a wild time. It's very wild. Nino's getting some intel, so it's all very exciting, Ron.
It is very exciting. Did you see the report that came out, or the whistleblower who came out yesterday talking about Bill Barr?
I saw the title. I didn't see the full video. I'm overwhelmed with, like 30, 40 videos a day. I'm trying to have a life. I'm trying to kick back a little bit. I keep up with what's going on, and it's very difficult. But yeah, Bill Barr. We knew Bill Barr was dirty 3 or 4 years ago. So that's not new. To me, that's not new. So 100%. I don't care. I mean, fine. Someone outed Bill Barr, but Bill Barr was already exposed 4 years ago. So what? Let's move on.
Well, Bill Barr was, anybody paying attention knows that Bill Barr was the primary person that George H.W. Bush put to repair the image of the CIA back in the late 70s. So, or the mid 70s, under when he was the CIA director for a very short period of time.
Well, that's all well and good, Ron, but I didn't come on here to talk about Bill Barr. I don't care about Bill Barr.
Oh, that's fine. It was just
someone outed Bill Barr again. Okay, well, fine. Bill Barr's outed. How about the double that's posing as Comey? I put that in my July report. It's a new guy who's claiming to be Comey. It's not the same face. It's close. It's not the same face. So, we're being taken for a ride. I would guess that we might have 20 or 30 people who are not their actual selves. In other words, there are fake people in high positions in 30 different positions. There's a joke running around, Ron, that many of the people, including actors and, musicians, many of the people that we believe are dead are really alive, and many of the people we think are alive are really dead. We're on number 3 for Senator Fetterman in Pennsylvania, the third version. This is a joke. How many Madonnas do we need to see, for the singer music lady? The new Madonna can't sing. Okay, now they're hunting down Obama, but are they really hunting down the Obama clone? Okay, this is an absolute joke, what we're seeing in reality.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I just finished talking.
Oh, okay. Your audio is like it's choppy and cutting in and out. So, that's all well and good. What's that?
I can repeat what I said. There's a joke running around that many of the people, including musicians and politicians and various people that we think are dead, they're really alive. And many of the people we think are alive are really dead. We have 20 to 30 different people who are posing as political figures. This is a show. This is a joke. But we had a fake president, the only dead president in the history of the United States, the only dead president to serve. Okay, this is a joke. We're in a joke. It's very disturbing what's going on. Can you hear me okay, Ron?
It's for me. It's cutting in and out. I'm asking the audience. Do you guys hear? Do you guys hear the same like staticky that I'm hearing, or just let me know? I mean, I can't fix it. I'm just curious if you guys are hearing the same thing I am. Well, there's I don't. I'm just looking at things that are going on around the world, and I see peace breaking out all over the place. Trump and Putin are meeting next week. Trump's he's brokered peace deals with multiple countries developing land. I guess what Azerbaijan and another country over. Peace is
Armenia, I
breaking
think
out there. They're doing economic corridors. Armenia, thank you. So, anyway, just a lot of good things are happening. But I'm just waiting for I'm kind of waiting for the shoe to drop on stuff here in the United States. I feel like there's something coming. I can't put my finger on it, but it's just it's a little uneasy.
I
for
think
me.
we're very likely to see some planned disruption. That's what I think is coming in the United States. Planned disruption. Here's a funny item, and just interrupt if I'm choppy. Just interrupt me if I'm choppy. We have a staged conflict between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Very much staged.
Yes.
And when it first came out and began to show itself, my immediate reaction was, oh, this is funny. This is really funny. They're going to try to break out into the liberal wing of the MAGA movement in order to make a new Democrat party after they kill the old Democrat fascist Obama party. Okay, Ron, I think we're in some very exciting and innovative times where we might be seeing the end of the Democrat Party. I have been calling for this now for 3 years. Biden and the entire show destroyed the Democratic Party. They destroyed it. I mean, Kamala Harris was an absolute joke of a candidate. Tim Walz, he was an absolute joke of a candidate.
Tim Walz.
Tim Walz. Well, sorry. And now there was a recent political poll, and it was set up as VP Vance versus Alexandra Cortez, AOC, and she got 40% of the vote. I mean, I would love to see a joke of a candidate like AOC Cortez run for president. Okay, I have some clients who say, Jim, I don't know. I think the Democrats are going to make a really good push in 2028. And I say, if they're even around, Ron, the Democrat Party is imploding, and they're continuing to push out these broken pieces as potential leaders. They have no leaders. I mean, where's Schumer from New York? I mean, come on. He's the one who has the most power, but it's an absolute joke. Bernie Sanders is an absolute joke. Kamala Harris is, my gosh, I don't really care to talk about U.S. politics, but let me just say something regarding the Putin and Trump peace plan. United Kingdom, the British, they're not in the negotiations. NATO, they're not in the negotiations. Ukraine, they're not in the negotiations. So this is really the United States with Trump and Putin in Russia making a peace plan that Ukraine is going to sabotage and NATO is going to sabotage. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. I changed out of I think it's my headset.
Okay. All right. Could be. I don't know. I'm getting a good signal from my end. Okay, Ron, I don't hear anything about how NATO or the Ukraine is represented in the peace talks. So what the hell are we talking about? We're talking about a U.S.-Russian accord that involves Ukraine, but Ukraine is not part of the accord. Okay, this is a joke. Here's a friend of mine summed it up very well. He said, if Zelensky goes along with the peace plan, the Azov Nazis are going to kill him. And if Zelensky doesn't go along with the plan, then NATO will kill him. And the real question for me is, what is the relationship between Donald Trump and NATO right now? By supplying NATO 2 or 3 weeks ago with armament, did Donald Trump kiss their ass? Is that what happened? He kissed NATO's ass so that NATO would then say, all right, whatever you do, whatever you say, it's all good. I mean,
well, can I offer?
Where's NATO aligned? Where's NATO aligned, Ron?
Let me offer up something on that. Maybe, and this is speculative, I will freely admit. But what if the things that he was giving? What if the things that he authorized to go to NATO are being tracked because he believes that a lot of the stuff that actually made its way into Ukraine through NATO was ultimately sent back into Mexico to the cartels?
Well, there's a lot of talk about that, but also I hear over and over again, like maybe a third of the weaponry, the armaments that went to Ukraine ended up in the Albanian black market.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, maybe Trump gave a bunch of weapons to NATO so that he could track them.
That's what I just said. Yeah.
Okay. All right. But yeah, you surmise that they went to Mexico, but I'm saying that they're going all over the place. They could be going to Syria. Okay.
True.
Okay.
But
track it. That's the point. Track it.
I get
Track
that.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And given the how the Russian military just captured an adrenochrome shipment with a flag from the nation in the southeast corner of the Mediterranean that I call the control nation. It controls the U.S. government. We're getting into very dicey areas here.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Now, here's something that's really important for those who don't know much about the peace talks. Putin has agreed to meet with Trump, which means Putin has agreed to the terms of the agreement. It's not an agreement. It's not a meeting to hash things out.
That's already been done.
Yeah, it's done. It's a done deal. But we don't have Zelensky and the Ukrainian Nazis on board here. All right, this is very interesting. And the United States with Trump, they're making claims. And Putin is going to be agreeing to this or that. I don't know exactly what. But the United States is not in this war. The UK and NATO are in this war. The UK and NATO, not the US. We've got mercenaries, to be sure. Oh, gosh, the Russian military captured 2 British ranking soldiers in the Odessa region. Did you hear about that?
I did not, but that would not surprise me. 2
ranking, I think one was a colonel, and they said they're doing maritime research. And I guess doing underwater explosive targeting would qualify as maritime research.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Anyway, if these guys
kind of like what they did with the bridge.
Yeah.
Remember when they blew that bridge up on the
over the Black Sea? Yes. Now, I'm not an expert on all the different military maneuvers, but it looks like Putin has 2 high-ranking pawns to bargain with the British, but he's meeting United States president. He's not meeting, it's not Keir Starmer. It's queer. It's queer Starmer.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
You've seen the pictures of him as a kid and with Jimmy Savile?
No, I don't keep up with stuff like that. I'm pretty busy with finance and economics.
But I'm not trying to go down that road because I know that's not something that you really want to talk about. I'm just saying there are pictures of a young Starmer with Jimmy Savile.
Well, fine. These guys are so dirty. And you know, the British people are getting fed up, and more power to them when they rise up against this, because for like 50 years of my life, 50 years, all I saw out of Britain was fascination of what the royals were wearing for clothing.
Oh God,
And I'm so tired of moronic bullshit. It's very similar in Hollywood, by the way, when they have a premiere of a new movie, and they show the stars, and they're out on the red carpet, and all the people in the crowd are oogling, oogling,
right.
and they care about what they're wearing, and they don't care about the content or the twist of the movie. Okay, here's a weird fact that I got from a British client, and it was confirmed by a different British client. There are many, many little cities in England. Many, many. It's like 60, 65 million people, and it's not a very big country.
Nope.
I think it's a fraction of the size of Texas. There are 70 mayors of cities in England who are Arab. 70. Okay. They're transforming the country, and the people are fighting back because they're tired of their women and their girls being raped.
Well, and I agree with that. But you know what? As sad as this is going to sound, they're grossly outnumbered at this point.
Well, they're outnumbered, but this is a quiet revolution, and I don't mean to spend too much time on this. I just want to make the point that the British now have two captured. They're not mercenaries. They were British advisors working with the Ukrainians doing sabotage, and Putin insinuated that they were involved in planning Russian terrain attacks. That's very important. It's not sabotaging a bridge in Ukraine. It's working to sabotage and attack a Russian city just over the border. And you know, some of them are not just over the border. They're like 80, 100 miles over the border.
Right.
All right. Anyway, there's a lot going on, and I'm not an expert, but I got a data dump from a friend of mine just yesterday on the war. I got to say something about Trump, and I don't know how to really make this final, but I believe that Trump is trying to create some discord in the United States. He wants people to get worked up. Trump wants people to rise up and say, I'm fed up with it. Just like that movie Network in the, what was it, late 80s or early 90s. I'm fed up and I'm not going to take it anymore.
Yeah, that was like, I think it was like 1975 or 76, something like that. But yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's far back.
I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore.
Was it really the mid 70s?
Yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It was a lot of fun. And I don't remember who the actor was. Finney?
I want to say it was Faye Dunaway.
No, it was a man.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying. But Faye Dunaway had a prominent role in that, I believe.
I don't remember. You know, this is a really weird comment to say, Ron, but I'm beginning to date myself.
1976.
Holy mackerel. Okay, that's very interesting. Ron, I'm starting to date myself because I was a young man in college when Nixon was shutting down the Vietnam War. Okay, I remember George McGovern winning 2 states in, I think, 1972.
Yeah.
I was 12 years old when Kennedy was shot, you know, supposedly in Texas. Okay, I date my. I'm 73 years old now. I feel quite young. I did a good long bike ride today, and I'm okay. I had to lie down and, you know, rest afterward. But I'm not a young guy anymore, and I've seen a lot in my life. I mean, I was there for the Lehman tragedy. That was a demolition. I was there. I forecasted that a year in advance, Ron. That was only the 4th year of the newsletter. Now I'm in year number 22.
That's crazy.
I remember Kurt Rickenbacker invited me in 2003 to the Riviera in Cannes, France, and I stayed with him for a week, and it was very memorable. But that was a long time ago. I mean, we have been through a lot. We went through the entire Kenyan Marxist administration for 8 years, Obama, and now they're going to destroy his legacy, and I'm all for it. I am 100% in favor of destroying the Obama legacy, because I know some people who say he was a great president. And I said, he was a good speaker and he riled up the crowd, but what the hell did he ever do? You don't know anything about what he did and you think he's a great president. Well, I tell people face to face, I think you're an idiot. I think you're a political idiot. What did he do?
There's a lot of there are a lot of people. I follow several channels online that are predominantly conservative Black content creators. And the reason that I do that is because they highlight a lot of the Black population that is switching, and they're seeing it. And
discontent.
I love, because to me,
like Candace Owen is like their spokeswoman.
Not really, but
I think so. But
well,
go ahead.
I mean, there are some, but the ones that I follow are much smaller. Candace Owens really she came out back in like 2017, 18, something like that. These are people that are relatively new. They've been going on for maybe a year or two, but they do like reaction videos where they play like a TikTok or Instagram lives where people are voicing their discontent with the Democrat Party, and they're switching, and they're
That's
like done.
Great.
And see, for me, I like to see that, because I want to see what people are rejecting.
Yes, get content. Get content.
Yes.
And I remember back in it was the election time, there were 6 or 8 different Black video platforms, and none of them was over 50 years old. And that is very important to me. They were under 40. They had their Black audience. They had a semi-conservative platform and agenda, and they were ripping apart Kamala, saying she wasn't Black. They were ripping. They were saying, what did Obama do for the Black community? He didn't do shit. So this is very interesting and a new phenomenon. And I think it could be a main part of the new Democrat Party. But we need to get rid of the old Democrat Party, and we can't use the word Democrat anymore. I don't know how they're going to do it. And honestly, Ron, we can talk about politics, and it's well and good, but I'd rather talk about finance.
Let's do it.
Okay. I gotta say something, and this is really important for me. For me as a newsletter analyst and writer and editor, I had a 14-page chapter in July report on XRP. I titled it XRP. What do you call it? Find its own discovery, price discovery, XRP in price discovery. And we had on Thursday, I think it was, a news item where Ripple and the executives and SEC mutually agreed that we do not want to engage anymore on legal battles. So that's dropped. And with the Genius Act, I'm not a real expert in the Genius Act, but the different pieces that I see are all kind of positive and laying the groundwork. So, Ron, I see an open pathway for XRP to go to $10. Just rough speaking. There's nothing holding it back. So it's really a matter of, a dozen whales, not Wales the country, whales the
right.
The mammal.
For those of you who don't know, kind of in the crypto world, if you're a whale, it essentially means you're somebody who owns an enormous amount of that particular crypto.
Like,
So
like millions of
right.
points.
So somebody like a BlackRock who's probably got, I don't know, maybe 10 million XRP. They're a whale.
They're a whale. Well, I don't know how many whales there are, but if I had to guess, and it's just a wild guess, an semi-informed wild guess, I would guess that there are probably 10 to 20 different whales, and they move the market. And something happened when we got to 350. The whales ran out of gas, so we had a little sell-off, and there were some various news items. All right, my point, Ron, is that ever since November, December or so, I've had some coverage of XRP. But in July, I had extensive coverage of XRP. What are its biggest advantages? What are its new contracts coming online? What are its, I think, fallacious arguments? Okay, I want to cover a couple things, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
And it's the on-demand liquidity, and it is the market cap. Those are just two concepts. Okay, the on-demand liquidity, as I investigated it more in order to have a complete story in the July report on golden-jackass.com, as I studied it more, I realized, holy mackerel, this is bigger than I thought. What it does is it eliminates the entire corresponding banking function. And if you want to get technical, it's called the Vostro and the Nostro accounts, the escrow account. Vostro, okay, it's Latin. It's you guys. Nostro, it's us guys. Okay, so if you're moving like $20 million in a SWIFT transfer, the other side has to put $20 million in escrow, and the party that's sending it also has to put $20 million in an escrow. So you're tying up a lot of money on both sides, and the XRP eliminates that entire process.
This is let me do something. I'm going to show you something because this will help you a little bit. This is what they call the XRP rich list. All right. So these are the number of accounts and the sum of the balance range. So there are only 5 wallet addresses that have 1 billion or more. There are 21 wallets that have 500 million to a billion, 51 that have 100 to 500 million, 164, 20 million to 100 million. And then it just keeps on going down.
I get it. And I'm way down the list.
Yeah.
That's
as
okay.
am I. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's good. Now, back to my point. The on-demand liquidity, the bottom line point, the summary point of the on-demand liquidity is it will eliminate 10 to 12, maybe $13 trillion in capital that is tied up in corresponding bank functions.
Yep.
That means the banks want it. The banks will not only benefit from low cost and high speed, they're going to free up some of their capital in making transfers. Okay, the on-demand liquidity is a gigantic advantage.
1,000%.
Okay.
There's somebody, looks like there's a pretty intelligent individual who's in the chat, and he said the exchanges and the banks are going to compete to custody crypto, and the stablecoin holders will replace the foreign purchasing or reducing of the U.S. treasuries.
That's got to sink in. Let me keep that up there.
Okay. Now, to your point about on-demand liquidity, for those of you who don't understand what on-demand liquidity is, let me just give you a very quick summary. If you've ever transferred money with like Venmo or Cash App or something, that money transfers immediately, and you have access to it immediately. But on the back end, it still has to go through a reconciliation process that can take up to a couple of days. Well, the thing is that the bank knows that money's there, so it fronts it. And that's what on-demand liquidity is, but on a massive scale. Would you say that, Jim? What do you think of that in terms of an explanation?
That makes sense, but you talk about Venmo. I think more in terms of Zelle.
Same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
Same principle.
They make it available immediately, but I think they do so by creating a corresponding bank, corresponding bank account function. But
to your point, with the Nostro Vostro accounts right now, all the money that's being transferred around the world is stuck in a holding process for 4 or 5 days, and it can't be done anything with. And during that time, the banks are reaping just tons of money in like interest fees.
Well, that could be, but I think that there's a lot of progress regarding transfers. I got to say that there was a turning point, and it was February 1st, 2024. I had a bank transfer on that day, and my client said, Jim, the funds will probably arrive in 2 to 3 days. And I said, I have a feeling it's going to be a lot faster than that. Ron, it was 2 hours. So the banks are facilitating the movement, and I think we've got some element of quantum financial system. I think it's got an aspect regarding the corresponding bank function for funding rapidly, but I don't want to get caught up with that. I want to focus on the big advantages of XRP. On-demand liquidity is going to be their advantage, and I think it's going to result in 3 tiers. And XRP is going to win maybe the majority or close to it in all 3 tiers. Retail, like ATMs, restaurant purchases, book purchases, department store purchases, online retail purchases for whatever, movie tickets, concerts. Okay. And the second one is cross-border. And that's where XRP made its name, cross-border. They're not going to walk away with under 40% of cross-border. They could very well walk away with at least 70% of cross-border. And now we just had a recent meeting like 2 weeks ago where Garlinghouse met with executives of SWIFT. And he walked away and said, we've got a goal, which to me meant we had discussions, and this was a proposed 14% XRP share of SWIFT, which means that it could be close to $20 trillion. Minimum, depending on your definition of SWIFT volume. There are 2 definitions of SWIFT volume. I don't want to get caught up with it. I prefer the more conservative and limited, and that definition has like 115 to 120 trillion dollars a year. 14% of that is about 20 trillion, roughly.
Can I make a quick statement about, because I don't think really a lot of people understand the nature of SWIFT and what it is, and I'm going to try to explain it in layman's terms, and I want you to correct me if I'm wrong. SWIFT essentially is a mechanism that was built in by the central banking system of the West to keep people in line, or keep countries in line. And if they got out of line, then all of a sudden, whenever they say sanctions are leveled against the country, essentially what they mean is that they're cut off from the SWIFT system. So you can't transfer money in and out from a Western country to a country where SWIFT will not where SWIFT will refuse to send money in and out of.
Participate.
Yeah. So that is the way that the Western hegemony has, without using military force, that is the way that they have controlled stuff. And that's, so when they
say weaponization. But Ron, right. I got to make a distinction here.
Please do.
In the 70s and 80s and early 90s, I don't think SWIFT was weaponized. It was really after 9/11. And it was in a big way after the Maidan coup in Kiev, Ukraine, 2014. I don't remember much of SWIFT sanctions, except maybe, Iran. Iran might be the exception to this argument.
North Korea.
North Korea, they're always a problem.
Libya.
Okay. And anyway, yeah, that's true. But they were isolated. Now we're getting, my gosh, it's widespread. But let me get back to XRP and the three areas. Okay, so we got retail, which is low-level ATMs and all kinds of different retail, including online traffic. And there was something, I think it's called EVM, where developers climb on board and do their applications and integrate it with the ecosystem of Ripple. And what I took away from that was, oh my gosh, already Ripple has 5 times the Visa transaction volume. Already 5 times the Visa transaction volume. Okay, that's very big. That tells me that my estimates of grabbing like 10 to 15% of retail traffic for XRP, I'm way low. Okay, but the big piece is going to be cross-border, like Korea, South Korea versus the United States, net basis, monthly trade balance, back and forth. Okay, it's going to be an XRP. All right, the favorite crypto coin in Korea is XRP. All of Japan is XRP compliant. Russia is XRP compliant. Not totally, but very much. UAE is XRP compliant. So we got Asia, we got Russia, which is really on the edge of Europe, and we got the Middle East, all climbing on board XRP. And then we've got that meeting with Garland House and the SWIFT executives, and I'm not making this up. Garland House mentioned 14% goal for SWIFT traffic, which is 20 trillion. If we get that run, there's no way. How is the volume? I believe in not transaction count. It's in currency. I don't really hear too much about transaction counts. I hear about dollar volume. Okay, so Ron, in the 3 areas of retail, cross-border, and SWIFT, I think we're going to be dominant in cross-border, but I think we're going to be very well represented in retail and SWIFT. And I don't like being called outrageous. I don't like being called wild-eyed, but I just don't see this being under $200 down the road.
Oh, shoot! I think I think that is a gross underestimation of what the total is going to be. It has. I mean, if you go back and you listen to David Schwartz, who even said it himself, he said it has to be a very high number. And when I say high number, I'm thinking 5 figures minimum.
I understand that, but I'm trying not to get too wild 100%. On that. I agree with you, but let's just focus on getting to 1,000, not 5,000. I saw 2 different videos by David Schwartz, and the guy is dense. The guy is detailed. The guy is very articulate. One thing I'm noticing about certain people in the Ripple area, Ripple domain, is that they're not just smart, but they can communicate. And that is really important for educating the public, because they need to be educated. This is not easy stuff. Okay, I want to get to 2 other topics.
Before you do that, this is actually a very interesting question. And I think it bears, because a lot of people aren't, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, or a lot of people really aren't that sophisticated when it comes to understanding this. How does high-level financing restructuring impact regular working Americans and small businesses?
I think it will affect them when it comes to managing their treasury, their money, their funds. It will matter when it comes to making transactions with their suppliers. They'll be a lot quicker. They'll be cheaper. If they got foreign suppliers, which is increasingly the case, those will be quicker. Those will be cheaper. Those will be clearer with fewer mistakes. But what I think is coming down the road to facilitate this very issue that was, you put up there, there are going to be more and more layers put on to facilitate things. Like, for instance, a custodial wallet.
And I agree with his statement.
Yes. More efficient, more agile, and fewer mistakes.
Yeah.
And efficient mean fast and cheap.
Yep.
Let's be specific.
And that just basically just reinforces what you've been saying.
And you know, Schwartz said something that's really interesting, and I covered this in my newsletter for July, the July report. There are many functions that XRP is destined to fulfill, and it cannot fulfill them under $100 price.
Correct.
It was designed at $100 to function. And now we're getting the adoption. Okay, to get this to happen, we need the adoption, and it's happening. It is happening. But in order to do, let me just make this in terms of SWIFT, which is the highest level. If they're going to satisfy the SWIFT volume at 20 trillion, they're going to probably need $1,000 XRP price to handle that.
Minimum.
To handle that.
And that's just SWIFT.
Right. And the cross-border, like Korea versus the U.S. or like UAE versus France. I love that link because it already has some history. And India. Oh, my gosh. India is going to be a very big player. Mm-hmm. They're the most populated nation on the planet right now. They have surpassed China.
I know. Okay.
All right. Now, we got a nice segue to my other XRP topic. I've got 3 topics, and we covered online demand. On-demand liquidity.
On-demand liquidity.
On-demand liquidity, which, by the way, was called XVIA originally. XVIA, and they decided, well, let's change the name to on-demand liquidity so that people will know that XVIA was about on-demand liquidity. Okay.
So that's where ODL comes in.
Yes. Okay. We're talking about price. And there's a bogus argument out there, and I hear it almost every day, a bogus argument. Well, we can't really get past a $10 or $20 XRP price because that would put it greater than Apple Computer in market cap. That would put it greater than Microsoft or NVIDIA in market cap. And to that I say, what a load of crap. This is not a stock. XRP is not a stock. It's not a security. It's not a currency. It is a value transfer unit. Let me make a parallel because I've given this a lot of thought in the last week. And that doesn't mean I have it figured out. It just means that I've come up with some good thoughts that are worth discussing. Okay. Back 20-something years ago, we had the dot-com boom. And there were a number of companies that were not profitable. Keyword is profit. What they had was sales. And there came a ratio. There came an argument. There came a valuation measuring method. Let's get a multiple of their sales to get their market cap because they're not profitable yet. We don't have a price earning ratio. That's a dash or an asterisk in the table because there is no profit. Now, I'm not saying that XRP is going to be unprofitable. I'm saying let's look at a good measuring stick. The measuring stick, and this is, I'm not alone in this. There are a couple of other people that are mentioning this. I think a good measuring stick is the volume of transfer in dollars. The volume. Now, you could look at Microsoft and look at their sales volume. You could look at Apple and their sales volume. Well, fine. XRP is going to put them in the dust for transfer volume, business transfer volume. Now, if we get a 10-fold increase in transfer volume in the next, 9 to 18 months, we're going to have a big increase in the market cap. And I don't give a crap about Apple Computer.
Yeah. You can't. I mean, you can't not have a big increase.
It's supply and demand, and we got a lid. It's a moving target lid. Okay, I want to just mention this about XRP. It's well known that it's got 100 billion coins, but occasionally there's a billion coins or several 100 million coins that Ripple has in reserve that they release in order to manage the fluctuations and the liquidity requirements. But we're still stuck with 100 billion coins. If we increase the demand tenfold and we have a near fixed limit of supply, I mean, you don't have to have a master's or a doctorate in mathematics or economics to know. If you got a fixed supply and you double and triple and tenfold the demand, your price goes way the heck up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Market cap arguments are spurious and defective. It's going to be a ratio of volume in transfer. And when that grows exponentially, we're going to see an exponential and a surprising market cap. I think we're going to flip Bitcoin in a matter of a couple of years.
Oh, I agree. I see. I'm of the opinion that Bitcoin, Bitcoin is exclusively going to be relegated to a store of value, and
store of value. Yeah, with a little asterisk there for money laundering, Ron.
Right, exactly.
Store of value to avoid the U.S. government and their ferrymen, toll takers, money laundering from Colombia, from Mexico, from Ukraine, from Switzerland. Money laundering has been a very big factor. Not the only one.
There's a reason that I don't own any Bitcoin.
I use it to buy XRP. I mean,
there are times when I have to use it to buy something, and so what I'll do is I'll sell a little XRP or little something else into it, and I'll use that. But I mean, I don't have, at any given point in time, I have under $100 value of Bitcoin.
Bitcoin's a currency. It's a currency. Yeah. I don't store thousands of dollars in my wallet, the wallet in my back pocket when I'm running around. I store like $20, $30, $40 and never any more in my back pocket in my wallet. Okay.
I don't know if this is. I don't know.
Ron, there's a company in Texas that they're making news. Buc-ee's. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
I've heard of Buc-ee's.
Okay. And they got it looks like a what do you call it? A beaver as their symbol. They're taking XRP now in transactions.
No way.
Yep. Buc-ee's begins accepting XRP as payment at their 1.5 million locations.
No way.
Okay, now I'm very curious how that might happen. We might need some layered applications in order to do that, but that is exactly what we're going to get. It's not just going to be custodial wallets. There's going to be a lot of layered things. And by the way, my last topic regarding XRP in particular is JP Morgan has estimated that between $3 and $8 billion is coming into exchange traded funds for spot XRP investment. Let me explain what that means. Okay, when you get an exchange traded fund, it means that you can use your stock market account to buy XRP in the form of an ETF. It'll be listed. Everyone I've seen has had four letter symbols like XXRP. XXRP is not a spot XRP. It's a 2X.
Can I show you something, Jim? Just so that you can get an idea of what we're talking about here. This is a Buc-ee's.
That's not small. What state is that, in Texas or Arizona?
They're all this way. This is probably in Texas because I see the stars over here, but they're all this way.
Where do you see stars? What do you mean stars?
Let me see here. Right.
I don't see any. Oh, there's a star. There's stars
right there.
white stars in the center. But that's not for Texas Lone Star, is it? Maybe it is.
Yeah, but very likely. But what I'm saying is that when you go into a Buc-ee's, it's like a Walmart, and they have over 100 pumps. These are enormous, and every single one of them is like this.
All right, so it's not just a department store; it's a gasoline station.
It's a gas station. Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. I'm not clear. Is it a department store and a gas station?
It's okay. It's not a department store, but it's a gas station.
What's inside the building? That's not gasoline inside the building. What's inside the building?
It's like a mini grocery store. They have clothes. I mean, it's like
okay. All right. So
it's like a I don't know if you remember like a 7-Eleven or a Circle K on steroids.
Well, it's like a Walmart. They got products, but they also got food. They got merchandise and food.
And what they're famous for, one of the things they're famous for is, and this is way off track. One of the things they're famous for, they literally have a full-time person who is in the bathrooms at all times, making sure that the bathroom is constantly clean. One in the men's and one in the women's. That's all their job is to clean the bathroom.
That has a second function of making sure that they don't have drug transactions in the bathrooms.
Well, that could be too, but I mean, a lot of people when you want to go to the restroom, you want to go to a clean bathroom.
Well, yeah, absolutely, but you don't want somebody transacting cocaine in the shit stall. Okay, all right, fine, all right, Ron. The ETFs are coming on. And J.P. Morgan, I think Morgan Stanley, have come out with estimates of $3 to $8 billion in exchange-traded funds, ETFs, so that regular people. I have some frustration with some of my clients. Not my frustration. They have frustration. They say, I don't have a wallet. I don't have a coin exchange account. I'm an older person. I'm over 60 years old, and maybe this is passing me by. And I tell them, wait for the exchange-traded funds to come in, and you can use your Schwab account, your Ameritrade account, your Morgan Stanley account, and use it to buy XRP. But be careful. You don't necessarily want to get a 2X account, which is double the power using leverage. So if XRP goes up 20%, double XRP will go up 40%. But it works the same way on the downside. You're getting double the swings. Okay, they're called spot ETFs, and that means there's no leverage. So if XRP goes up 20%, your spot ETF will go up the same 20%.
Right.
Okay. It's five. It's probably going to be at least 5 and maybe as much as $8 billion, and I think they are low conservative.
I agree with that.
Because they don't want to advertise this whole new crypto function, digital finance. Okay, I'm going to make a conclusion comment regarding XRP, and you know that'll be the end unless you have other things to discuss.
I do. I have a couple questions here from the audience that are relevant. Go ahead.
Okay. I think RLUSD is going to replace the function of Forex reserves held by central banks.
Oh, that's interesting.
They're going to replace the U.S. Treasury bond function. Interest bearing will be moving to stablecoin, and RLUSD is going to get again the majority of that. I think it's already up to something like $100 million. Ron, you might have a better figure on that, but RLUSD is the stable coin for Ripple, and if they get the bank license, they're going to have a big advantage toward collateralizing the RLUSD stablecoin in terms of collateral of the U.S. Treasury bond. I believe we're going to see a massive migration of central bank Forex reserves in the form of U.S. Treasury bonds, the long-term one, like the 10 years, maybe even the 5 and 7 years. They're going to be going into the stablecoin and into RLUSD. At the same time, the trade payment is no longer going to be dominated by the Treasury bill. It's going to be dominated by XRP. And therefore, you can make the argument that XRP is going to replace the dollar in global trade.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, what is the market cap, you people who bring up this bogus argument? What's the dollar's market cap?